This evening. What a great opportunity that is before us here in the state of Wisconsin. What you have before you tonight is a 21st century mining bill. A 21st century iron ore mining bill that reflects our values as Wisconsinites, as a proud manufacturing state who also believes in preserving, protecting our environment. That is our flag. All of us here in the state of Wisconsin, and that is a miner on there. And that miner has not been working here for the last 40 years, other than a brief period in the 1990s for about 4 or 5 years. In effect, that miner's been laid off. That miner has been a proud part of our heritage and our economy in the state of Wisconsin. Now we have the possibility of a rebirth of an industry here in the state of Wisconsin. I've heard the phrase out-of-state company many times. Do you know 2 of the 4 mining companies up on the Iron Range in northern Minnesota? They're foreign companies. Would you prefer that there be a foreign company that be looking at opening a mine here in northern Wisconsin? And part of the reason we do not have a Wisconsin domestic company because we've had no mining industry. Why would a mining company be in Wisconsin when we've been ranked 99th or worse in the world for mining certainty for an applicant? I appreciate the Senator from 15th's comment in regards to the town of Anderson. I want those folks in the town of Anderson and the other local communities up there to know that in this bill, Senate Bill 1, you will not be left alone. There are notice of intent payments. When the MFL payments start to come in, they could take in as much as $500,000 at a very small town. They're going to have the resources to be able to complete an agreement, a local agreement with a mining company. They're not going to be out there all alone. We would all love to have I would love to have a bipartisan bill here tonight. I hope some of my colleagues on the inner circle will vote for this bill yet. But you know what? 5 or 10 years from now, when those people at that mine site are cashing their paychecks, do you think they're going to be asking, gosh, I wonder if that was passed on a bipartisan basis? When somebody who has a $70,000, $80,000 a year job and they're cashing their paychecks, do you think they're going to look back and they're going to say, I want to see the record of the State Senate of Wisconsin in 2013 to see if that was passed on a bipartisan basis? No, they are going to be happy to have those jobs that could come to northern Wisconsin. You know, the paper industry in Wisconsin is struggling, and some of the members here, you have significant number of constituents, a real presence in the paper industry in Wisconsin. I pose a question for all of you tonight. If the paper industry did not exist in the state of Wisconsin, it was not here. What do you think the odds that they would be able to come into Wisconsin at this point and start up that industry? Because, for example, the PCA mill in Tomahawk, which is in my district, uses up to 10 million gallons of water a day in the height of summer. What do you think the odds are that that industry would say, hey, we're going to start up in the state of Wisconsin? But I hope you'll also think about those mighty paper mills that are still running that you would defend to the end. And I agree with you. I'm right there with you. I believe we should defend their presence here in the state of Wisconsin. That's the size of the industry, maybe even larger, that we could see up on the Iron Ashland County border. That's what we could be foregoing if we do not approve this bill tonight. I'm getting close to the end here. I own a business, Wisconsin River Cruises. We have a dinner and excursion boat. And there is one closing remark here tonight that I find offensive. That I am not an environmentalist. As soon as we had the opportunity to put on four-stroke, four-cycle engines on our excursion boat in the late 90s, which used half as much fuel, put out about 2/3 less emissions, we put them on them. And we are very concerned about the environment. And I urge all of you, come on up sometime and see the river that we travel on. The Wisconsin River, just south of the paper mill in Rhinelander. It's a great story. Old timers come on the boat all the time from Rhinelander, and they talk about the sludge that used to roll down the river. It was befouled. Take a look at our website sometime, Wisconsin River Cruises, and look at what we sell. You see loons. There were 3 nesting pairs of loons on that 5-mile stretch of the river this past season. There's eagle's nests. That's what we're selling, something that used to not be there. The point that I'm making to you is that we can have both. I've seen this argument that it's jobs versus the environment. That's not where we're at in this country at this point. We can do these things. The know-how and technology that we have is completely different than 50 years ago. We've heard a lot about northern Minnesota, the Duncan mine from the 1960s, when they did not know that they needed to do a thorough job of waste characterization of that river. They had serious problems in northern Minnesota. We would never allow that to happen now. The rock characterization process that we have written into this bill is thorough. The know-how and technology is completely different. And that's why I call this a 21st century iron ore. And to the notion of boom and bust, come on up north and check out all those businesses in my district, and I'm sure it's in some of the other senators' districts. Look at all the for sale signs. As we've lost manufacturing jobs here in Wisconsin, it has affected our businesses. If you take those 2 paper mills that are right near where my business is, the one in Rhinelander, the one in Thomasville, we will lose at least 10% of our business. And that could be enough where we say, is it worth continuing to run? We need manufacturing, but we can have both. We can have a strong tourism economy, and we can have a very strong manufacturing economy also. So anyhow, thank you very much for allowing me to share these remarks tonight, Mr. President. This is the first step in the rebirth of the mining industry. And I want my colleagues to know, those of you that choose to vote for this bill tonight, you can go forth with every confidence that the regulatory agencies, both state and federal, they're going to do a thorough review of a mining permit and make sure that a mining applicant does their work in an environmentally safe manner. I urge your vote for SB 1.
Questions, passage,